What if I told you that aging isn't something to fear, but something to embrace? That the lines on your face are not signs of weakness, but stories of strength? That every year you grow older, you actually grow richer in wisdom, deeper in love, and closer to true peace? Aging gracefully is not about resisting time, it's about finding joy in every stage of life, rethinking what it means to age. Aging has often been painted as a decline, a slow march toward losing beauty, health, and independence. For decades, society has glorified youth, making people dread the idea of getting older. Wrinkles are hidden with creams, birthdays after 50 are downplayed, and the word old is whispered like a curse. But here's the truth: aging gracefully is not about fighting time, it's about changing the way we see time. When you're young, joy often comes from what lies ahead: the next adventure, the next career move, the next relationship. But as we age, joy transforms. It becomes less about chasing the next big thing, and more about appreciating the present. Instead of worrying about what we might lose, aging gracefully means celebrating what we've already gained: perspective, resilience, and clarity. Think of life as a book. Youth is the exciting introduction, full of possibilities and questions. But the later chapters, those after 50, 60, or 70, are where the real wisdom lies. They're where the story becomes richer, where the lessons finally connect, and where the characters show their true strength. Aging gracefully is about leaning into those chapters, not closing the book early. The shift from doing to being. One of the greatest joys of aging comes when we stop measuring our worth by how much we can do and start appreciating who we simply are. In our younger years, so much of life is performance. We're expected to achieve, impress, and prove ourselves. Success is measured by titles, money, or popularity. But in later years, a beautiful shift can happen. We begin to value presence over productivity. Imagine waking up without the pressure of proving anything to anyone. Instead, your worth is rooted in the life you've lived, the relationships you've built, and the wisdom you carry. That is the freedom aging gracefully brings. This doesn't mean giving up on goals or growth. In fact, older age can be a time of renewed creativity, deeper passions, and meaningful contributions. The difference is that now you're no longer climbing ladders just to please others, you're finally free to choose what truly matters to you. Finding beauty beyond the mirror. One of the biggest struggles with aging is the change in appearance. Wrinkles appear, hair thins, skin loosens. For many, this feels like losing beauty. But the truth is, beauty is not what time takes away, it's what time leaves behind. Think of the people you admire most in life. Is it really their smooth skin or youthful glow that inspires you? Or is it the way they smile with kindness, the strength in their eyes, the grace in how they carry themselves? Real beauty deepens with age. It's written in the way you laugh, the way you comfort others, and the way your presence makes people feel safe. Aging gracefully means shifting the definition of beauty. Yes, you can care for your body and maintain your health, but you no longer need to compete with younger versions of yourself. Instead, you embrace the uniqueness that only time can create. Gratitude as the foundation of joy. The secret ingredient to finding joy in aging gracefully is gratitude. When we are young, we often take health, time, and relationships for granted. But as we grow older, gratitude becomes a lens through which we see life differently. Instead of complaining about what's fading, gratitude allows us to focus on what remains and what has been gained. You may no longer run as fast as you once did, but you might now have the patience to notice the beauty of a quiet walk. You may not work the long hours you once did, but you now have the freedom to spend time with loved ones. Gratitude transforms aging from loss into abundance. Every year added to your life is not a subtraction of youth but an addition of memories, wisdom, and love. Embracing change with grace. Aging gracefully doesn't mean ignoring the challenges. There will be physical aches, moments of forgetfulness, or times when you feel limited. But the key lies in how you respond. Do you resist and fight every change, or do you meet it with acceptance and adaptability? Grace comes from flexibility, the ability to bend without breaking. Think of a tree. A young tree is fragile, easily uprooted. But an older tree with deep roots can withstand storms. That's what aging gives us. The strength to weather life's challenges with calm, patience, and dignity. The power of relationships in aging gracefully. If there's one truth that becomes clearer with age, it's this. Life is not measured by the possessions we keep but by the people we keep close. As the years pass, careers fade, ambitions quiet down, and material desires lose their shine. What remains, the constant source of joy, strength, and meaning, are the relationships we nurture. Aging gracefully is not a solo journey. It's a dance shared with family, friends, and community. The joy of these years isn't found in isolation but in connection. In fact, Countless studies show that the greatest predictor of happiness and longevity in later life isn't wealth or health, it's the quality of our relationships. Let's dive into why relationships matter so deeply in the pursuit of aging gracefully. The gift of being truly seen. In our youth, relationships can sometimes be transactional. We make friends for shared interests, social convenience, or mutual benefit. But as we grow older, relationships take on a different depth. They become less about surface-level enjoyment and more about genuine connection. There is a unique joy in being around people who have known you for decades. They've seen you stumble and rise, succeed and fail. With them, there's no need for masks or pretenses. You can simply be. This authenticity is one of the greatest freedoms of aging gracefully, the joy of being fully seen and accepted for who you are. Imagine sitting with an old friend on a quiet afternoon. You don't need constant chatter to fill the silence because the bond itself speaks. You know each other's stories, you've carried each other's secrets, and in their presence you feel at home. That comfort, that sense of belonging, is irreplaceable. Family as anchors of joy. For many, family becomes the cornerstone of happiness in later life. The joy of watching children grow, of becoming a grandparent, or simply of being surrounded by loved ones during milestones, these are treasures that no material wealth can match. Family relationships, however, aren't always simple. There may be old conflicts, unspoken regrets, or distance caused by life's busyness. But aging gracefully often brings a shift in perspective. The things we once argued about may no longer feel so important. Pride softens, forgiveness becomes easier, and love becomes the priority. Choosing to heal strained relationships, to reach out with kindness, or to let go of grudges can open doors to profound joy. At the end of the day, family doesn't just give us roots, it also gives us wings. Friendships that evolve with time. Not all joy in aging comes from family. Friendships play a unique and vital role. A good friend can be a mirror, a cheerleader, a confidant, and a lifeline. Friendships in older age often deepen because they are chosen relationships. Unlike family, which we are born into, friends are the family we select. In these years, friendships may shift from being based on convenience to being rooted in genuine care. A walk with a friend, a phone call that lasts an hour, or laughter over shared memories becomes medicine for the soul. These are not just social activities, they are acts of emotional nourishment. And here's the beauty, friendships don't have to be many to matter. Even one or two close, trusted companions can provide immense joy. Quality always outweighs quantity when it comes to connection, community and belonging. Beyond family and friends, there is also the larger circle of community. Belonging to a group, whether it's a spiritual gathering, a volunteer organization, a hobby club, or a neighborhood circle, provides a sense of purpose. Humans are social beings. Loneliness is one of the greatest risks to health and happiness as we age. But community offers an antidote. It reminds us that we are part of something bigger, that we still have something to contribute, and that our presence matters. Imagine joining a book club, a gardening group, or a senior center activity. Beyond the activity itself, what brings joy is the laughter shared, the stories exchanged, and the sense of connection. Aging gracefully is not about retreating from life, it's about staying engaged with it. The role of compassion and giving. Interestingly, one of the greatest sources of joy in later life doesn't always come from receiving love, but from giving it. Acts of kindness, generosity, and compassion create meaning. There's something profoundly fulfilling about mentoring younger generations, offering advice from lived experience, or simply being a listening ear. When you give of yourself, you don't lose, you expand. The love you offer multiplies and often comes back to you in unexpected ways. This is why so many elders find joy in volunteering, teaching, or being a steady presence for their families. Aging gracefully is not about fading into the background, it's about becoming a source of light for others. Letting go of toxic ties. Of course, not all relationships bring joy. Some drain energy, spread negativity, or reopen old wounds. One of the most empowering aspects of aging gracefully is the freedom to choose peace. By this stage of life, you realize that not everyone deserves a seat at your table. Letting go of toxic relationships, whether they are critical friends, manipulative relatives, or draining acquaintances, is not an act of cruelty. It's an act of self-respect. Protecting your emotional well-being allows you to fully enjoy the healthy, loving relationships that remain. When you release what no longer serves you, you create space for new, more meaningful connections to blossom. Relationships as the key to longevity. Science backs up what wisdom has always known. Strong relationships are directly linked to longer, healthier lives. Research from Harvard's 80-year-long happiness study found that people with close, supportive relationships lived not only longer but also healthier and happier lives compared to those who were socially isolated. It wasn't wealth, fame, or even physical health that determined happiness. It was connection. This simple truth highlights why nurturing relationships is at the heart of aging gracefully. The circle of joy. Ultimately, the joy of aging doesn't come from avoiding wrinkles, chasing youth, or holding on to material success. It comes from love. The love we give, the love we receive, and the love that binds us to one another. As we age, we may walk a little slower, but we walk surrounded by people who matter. We may not remember every detail, but we remember the feeling of being cherished. And when we look back, it won't be the awards, titles, or possessions that bring a smile. It will be the faces of those who walk the journey with us. Purpose, passion, and lifelong learning. If relationships are the heart of aging gracefully, then purpose is the soul. Without purpose, days can feel empty and life can lose its spark. But with purpose, even the smallest actions carry meaning. Aging gracefully isn't just about looking back on a life well lived. It's also about continuing to grow, discover, and contribute. Why purpose matters more than ever. When we are young, purpose often comes from our roles: student, worker, parent, or partner. But as we age, some of these roles shift or fade. Careers may slow down, children may become independent, and our responsibilities may change. Without something meaningful to hold on to, it's easy to feel lost. But purpose doesn't retire. It simply transforms. In fact, older age is a golden opportunity to redefine what truly matters. Instead of chasing achievements for recognition, you now have the freedom to choose activities, causes, and passions that align with your deepest values. Having a reason to wake up in the morning, a project, a hobby, a loved one to care for, gives life direction. It brings energy and joy no matter your age. Discovering or rediscovering passion. One of the most joyful parts of aging gracefully is the chance to explore passions you may not have had time for before. Life's earlier years are often filled with obligations, raising a family, building a career, or paying bills. But as those responsibilities lessen, space opens up for creativity and self-expression. Have you always wanted to paint? Write a memoir? Learn to play an instrument? Travel to a country you've dreamed of since childhood? Aging gives you permission to pursue these passions, not as luxuries but as essential parts of living fully. Even small passions matter. Gardening, cooking new recipes, joining a choir, or practicing photography can infuse your days with excitement. Joy doesn't only come from big adventures. It's often found in simple, everyday acts that make your heart sing. Lifelong learning keeps the mind alive. Another secret to finding joy in aging gracefully is never stopping the journey of learning. The brain, like the body, needs exercise. Learning something new, whether it's a language, a craft, or a skill, keeps the mind sharp and the spirit young. Think about the curiosity of a child. Children are filled with wonder because everything is new to them. Aging gracefully means keeping that same curiosity alive, even in your 70s, 80s, or 90s. Thanks to technology and community resources, opportunities to learn are everywhere. Online classes, library workshops, university programs for seniors, or simply trying out new hobbies. Each time you learn something new, you're not just gaining knowledge, you're proving to yourself that growth never ends. The joy of mentorship and sharing wisdom. Purpose isn't only about personal passion, it's also about what you give back. One of the greatest joys of aging is the chance to share your wisdom with others. Younger generations crave guidance from those who have walked the path before them. Mentorship doesn't require formal teaching. It can be as simple as telling stories to grandchildren, guiding a young professional, or showing a neighbor how to fix something. In these moments, your life experiences become gifts that ripple outward. There is deep satisfaction in knowing that your journey has meaning beyond yourself. When you share your lessons, you turn challenges into wisdom, mistakes into guidance, and victories into inspiration. Reinventing yourself at any age. Society sometimes sends the message that after a certain age, it's too late. Too late to start something new, too late to change careers, too late to take risks. But history is filled with people who began some of their greatest adventures later in life. Grandma Moses didn't begin her painting career until her 70s. Colonel Sanders started KFC in his 60s after many failures. Countless authors, musicians, and entrepreneurs found success well past middle age. Aging gracefully means breaking free from the too late mindset. You are never too old to reinvent yourself, to fall in love again, to discover a hidden talent, or to take on a challenge. Every day you wake up is another chance to grow. Purpose in service and contribution. Another pathway to joy in aging gracefully is service. Whether through volunteering, community involvement, or simply helping a neighbor, serving others brings fulfillment. Why? Because giving connects us to something greater than ourselves. It reminds us that we still have value to offer, no matter our age. Service doesn't have to be grand. Small acts of kindness create ripples of joy. Planting flowers in a community garden, reading to children at a library, or visiting someone who is lonely, these are the moments that shape a meaningful legacy. The balance between rest and purpose. It's important to remember that purpose doesn't mean constant busyness. Aging gracefully also requires rest, reflection, and stillness. Balance is the key. Too much doing without rest leads to exhaustion. Too much rest without purpose leads to emptiness. The sweet spot is found when you balance activity with peace, when your days have rhythm. Some filled with meaningful work or hobbies, and others simply spent enjoying the quiet beauty of life. Joy through growth, not perfection. Perhaps the most liberating lesson in pursuing purpose and passion later in life is this: you don't have to be perfect. You don't have to master every skill or achieve every dream. The joy is in the trying, the learning, and the living. If you pick up painting and your art never makes it to a gallery, that's okay. The joy is in the brushstrokes, the colors, the expression. If you take dance lessons and your steps are clumsy, that's okay. The joy is in the laughter, the movement, the freedom. Aging gracefully is about celebrating progress, not perfection. Writing the next chapter. Purpose, passion, and learning aren't just side notes to aging gracefully, they are the very ink with which you write the next chapter of your life. Instead of viewing aging as an ending, think of it as a beginning. This is your chance to focus on what truly makes your soul come alive. Whether it's exploring new passions, mentoring others, or simply staying curious, you have the power to make these years some of the richest of your entire life. Inner peace, acceptance, and spirituality. As we age, the outer world naturally begins to quiet down. Careers slow, children grow, ambitions soften, and the rush of life gives way to stillness. What once mattered so much, titles, possessions, appearances, loses its grip. In this quieter space, a new dimension of joy reveals itself. The joy of inner peace, acceptance, and spiritual connection. Aging gracefully is not just about staying healthy or active. It's about cultivating harmony within yourself. And it's in this harmony that we discover the deepest form of joy, one that no wrinkle, illness, or challenge can ever take away. The gift of inner peace. When we are young, our minds are restless. We worry about the future, regret the past, and constantly chase more success, more recognition, more things. But with age comes an incredible opportunity, the chance to finally rest in the present moment. Inner peace doesn't come from avoiding challenges. It comes from knowing you can handle them. Over the years, you've faced storms and survived. You've been tested and grown stronger. This knowledge allows you to relax into life, to trust that whatever comes, you'll meet it with grace. Simple moments, sipping tea in the morning, listening to birds sing, sitting quietly with a loved one, become profound sources of joy when you live from a place of peace. Aging gracefully means slowing down enough to notice the beauty that has always been there. Acceptance, the freedom to let go. One of the hardest but most liberating lessons of aging is learning to let go. Letting go of the need to control everything. Letting go of unrealistic expectations. Letting go of regrets about what could have been. Acceptance does not mean giving up. It means making peace with what is. It means recognizing that life, in all its imperfection, is still profoundly beautiful. Wrinkles, gray hair, slower steps. These are not flaws to fight against but signs of a life fully lived. Each mark is a chapter, each change a testament to resilience. When we stop resisting time and instead welcome it, aging becomes not a burden but a blessing. Acceptance also means forgiving ourselves. Many carry regrets into old age, choices not made, opportunities missed, mistakes that linger. But aging gracefully invites us to release the heavy weight of guilt and shame. You did the best you could with what you knew at the time. That, in itself, is enough. The role of spirituality. For many, aging awakens a deeper sense of spirituality. Spirituality here does not only mean religion, it means connection. Connection to something greater than yourself, whether that's God, nature, love, or the mystery of life itself. Spirituality provides perspective. It reminds us that life is more than our bodies, achievements, or possessions. It points us toward the eternal, the part of us that cannot be diminished by time. Prayer, meditation, reflection, or simply walking in nature can open doors to peace. These practices remind us that we are not alone, that there is meaning woven into every stage of life. Spirituality transforms fear of the unknown into trust in the journey, gratitude and the present moment. Inner peace, acceptance, and spirituality all converge in one simple practice: gratitude. Gratitude anchors us in the present. It shifts focus from what is missing to what is here. At 60, 70, or 80, every day becomes a gift. Every sunrise is another chance to love, to laugh, to learn. Gratitude turns ordinary days into treasures. Instead of mourning what's gone, you celebrate what remains, and that celebration becomes joy itself. Try this simple practice. At the end of each day, name 3 things you're grateful for. They don't have to be big. Maybe it's a phone call from a friend, the taste of fresh fruit, or the warmth of sunlight on your face. These small acknowledgments build a reservoir of joy that sustains you through challenges. Finding joy in simplicity. As we age, we often realize that joy isn't hidden in extraordinary moments. It's woven into the simple ones. The laughter of grandchildren. A walk through a park. A shared meal. The comfort of a familiar chair. Simplicity holds a kind of beauty that youth often overlooks. In our later years, we finally slow down enough to see it, to savor it, to understand that joy was never far away. It was always here, waiting for us to notice. Aging gracefully means choosing simplicity over complexity, presence over distraction, and meaning over noise. Facing mortality with grace. One of the most profound aspects of aging gracefully is coming to terms with mortality. Death is no longer a distant concept. It becomes part of the horizon. This can be frightening, but it can also be deeply liberating. When you accept that life is finite, you begin to cherish it more. Every hug, every conversation, every sunset becomes more precious. Mortality doesn't diminish joy, it intensifies it. Spirituality often plays a role here too. For those who believe in an afterlife, there is comfort in the idea of reunion and continuation. For others, there is peace in knowing that their life's impact will live on in memories, in love passed down, and in the difference they made. Either way, facing mortality with acceptance turns fear into appreciation. Instead of dreading the end, you focus on living fully until it comes, leaving a legacy of love. In the final chapters of life, joy is found in the legacy you leave behind, not in possessions but in love. Your legacy is the laughter you sparked, the kindness you shared, the wisdom you offered, and the lives you touched. Think of it this way: every kind word, every act of generosity, every lesson shared becomes a seed planted in the hearts of others. Those seeds grow long after you're gone. Aging gracefully means realizing that while your time may be limited, your impact is not. The most beautiful chapter. Aging gracefully is not about resisting change, clinging to youth, or denying time. It's about embracing every stage with courage, gratitude, and love. It's about discovering joy not despite aging, but through aging. In relationships you find companionship and belonging. In purpose and passion you find meaning and growth. In peace, acceptance, and spirituality, you find freedom and joy that transcends time. The later years of life are not the fading of the light. They are the gentle glow of sunset, warm and beautiful, illuminating everything that came before. So instead of asking, "How can I avoid aging?" ask, "How can I embrace it?" Because the truth is, every wrinkle is a story, every gray hair is wisdom, and every day you live with peace, love, and gratitude is proof that joy has no age.